because this way we can
This way people
deconstruct
can
what
read.
you. So why don't you
Okay.
take it from the top?
Well, okay. First of all, I was looking at the last week's class,
Mhm.
and it really didn't apply to this. The first week's class, the week before, it applied a hell of a lot more.
Right. So it's not right.
So I was just pretty much okay going by memory rather than by following step by step. So I decided to keep things simple because I didn't know what to do with the latitude and longitude to be able to map it.
Okay.
I would have to go back to the previous course to figure out how to do that.
Okay.
Because we did the map in the previous week, not previous course, previous week.
Mhm.
So I said, okay, let's look at by room type and neighborhood group. What is the average price?
Nice.
That would be useful information.
Mhm.
And then I went over here and I looked at the different types of graphs,
Mhm.
and I sort of was looking at this one,
Okay.
but it didn't tell me. I couldn't get the legend to come up.
Well, and here's the thing. Every graph is going to be different, right? And so in that particular graph, obviously Manhattan stands out, right? So that one.
Well, yeah, but what type? It's not telling me just by looking at it. I have to mouse over in order to see what
Exactly.
the entire home.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
I figured out that you have to really be careful with it to get it to expand so you can read everything.
Exactly.
So then I'm started looking at the different types of graphs, and I sort of clicked there just to see what came up, and I said, I love this.
This is perfect. And one of the things that you've hit here is you've got the size of the dot, right? You've got the clusters, right, by color, but you've got the size of the dot, which gives you a great indicator as to what's large versus small.
Now you have to mouse over to get the amount.
Right, which is typical.
Okay, I would like to be able to get the amount in there, and then the amount is in one decimal place.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's average.
Mm-hmm.
So
by amount, you would want the average price?
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's average.
What would happen if you
Average
if you were to drag the average price from the marks tablet over to the graph?
Okay.
Over in marks, you see the green average? Nope, over right there. What if you drug that over to, nope, right there, drag it over and lay it on top of one of those circles?
Like that?
Yeah. Nothing. Okay. Oh, you know what? It's already got it there. That's why. Which one did you drag? Did you drag the one with the circles or the other one? Try that one instead. Still nothing. Oh, that's odd. Okay. All right. So, well, you want
to put it over it.
No.
It just
disappeared. Right. So when you mouse over each one of those dots, right?
Yeah.
It gives you a running average.
Mm-hmm.
So that running average, what does that tell you?
That the average price to rent an entire home in Staten Island is $173.80.
Okay. All right.
That's what it's telling me.
All
which
right.
is more than Queens. Same 178.
Those are the same.
Not much. It's 178 versus 173. It's only $5 difference.
Yep.
Bronx is the cheapest, and Manhattan, of course, is the most expensive.
Okay, and which is the cheapest in the red area? And what does the red area mean?
And the red is the shared room.
Shared room, you got it. So what's
the fewest of those?
There you go. So we have 50.
Looks like Brooklyn.
Okay.
50.5, 57. Yeah, so Brooklyn, just by size.
So let's think about
all you want. If you want only a room in New York City, go to Brooklyn.
Right. So
let's looking for a place to crash for the night.
Exactly. So let's think about applications using this as a model for your average public user. Let's say you have, or you were building or planning a visualization for, let's say, Orange County or Westchester, right? What do you think would be useful for an individual? And you could be with respect to the economy, wineries, where can I go for the cheapest?
Not for Airbnb.
Right, not right. So something different. Like if you were to apply this idea to, let's say, Orange County or Westchester County, what can you think of? Like price is a driving factor, right?
Price is a driving factor, but I'm
Mhm.
thinking about how do you break up the geography? I mean, do you do it by town?
Okay. Well,
Because
and here
it's
they did
not,
it,
yeah, here they did it by borough. New York City
right?
neighborhood group, and it doesn't really, it's not the same
It's not the same.
up here,
However, if you were to group, let's say you're focused on Orange County,
right?
and let's say you wanted
How
to
many
do
townships are there in Orange County?
exactly, you could use township, you could use let's think. You could do groupings by streets that are close to each other, or
I,
you
I might even want to break it up into quadrant,
yes, right,
northeast, southeast,
you got it.
northwest, southwest, and just, but then I have to get my latitude and longitude.
That's right. But as long as you have that, you could actually create those logical groupings. And what you would do is you would use a portion of the latitude and longitude, right? So the first thing you would ask yourself is there a logical grouping that people recognize in that regional area? So I'm not familiar of anything in Orange County, but let's say that Orange County residents recognize, quadrants, right? And maybe a split in that direction. Or maybe they recognize specific regional areas. That's where you would want to go to a GIS, like the Orange County GIS, and see how do they split things up.
Yeah,
And then based on that, you could map it
I would definitely
accordingly.
want to look and see how they do it.
You got it. You got it.
Just from my familiarity with Orange County, Route 17 is a big divider.
Yes, absolutely. Yep, you're
And
right.
anything Middletown is like the end of population. Then you go to Port Jervis and there's nothing in between.
And there's nothing. Exactly. Exactly. So let's see here. So is that the only analysis you did?
It's the only one I had time to do.
Okay. Okay. So
Now,
do you?
I was thinking, what else did I want to? And I don't know what this F17 and F19 are.
Okay, so if you're not sure, add a new sheet and drag them in. So you don't want to mess with this sheet particularly, right? So you could add a new sheet and drag it in and see what is it. And it looks to me
Nothing. It's null set.
there's nothing there. So
Yeah.
it looks like some bogus data perhaps. What do you see when you go to your data source? Maybe there's something in your data source. Actually in Tableau though.
Oh, in Tableau. Okay.
Yeah. See if there's maybe there's a tab on the lower left. Do you see it? If you click on that, let's see if all right, where is it? You said F17 something?
F17 and F19, I believe it was. Is this
Okay.
how does this go across? How do I get across this?
Okay, so what you want to do is scroll down so you get the side, see there's a little scroll bar at the bottom and you just might not be able to see it because it's gray. See it right there.
Right
Yeah. There you go. So let's see, what is this weird, interesting scenario? Okay, they're nulls. So your best
17
bet,
mix-
Jerry, you remember?
You know, this is probably cleaning stuff that we did.
Yes. So see
That-
the data interpreter, Jerry, up top where it says sheets? Right down, right there. That will get rid of your nulls. So if you click on that, that will clean that up. And it's executing it. So now it's cleaning it up. All right, and loading the data source again. And it should have gotten rid of those columns. I don't see them anymore. Except I do see the, yeah, it got rid of some of them.
Got rid of the column, but didn't get rid of all the nulls.
Right. What it did is it got rid of the columns with a significant amount of nulls.
Right. Those were probably some data cleaning
From
that we
cleaning,
did.
yeah.
Or the feature engineering or one or the other.
Yep. Yeah, you got it. You got it.
So now if I go to sheet 2, there's nothing there because it's not there anymore.
Right. So you can get rid of that guy. So Jack is here. Jack, good to see you. Hello.
Okay, so is that
So you worked with average price. Okay.
I should rename this average price by borough.
You can do that.
Cancel. Okay, street name. First, I want to bold it.
Yeah. So to rename it, you just double click on the sheet tab down there.
Yeah.
I don't see any typing. Are you?
I'm typing off on another screen.
Okay. So you're not typing on the screen that you're sharing.
No. Oops. Oh, the sheet is still named average price.
Right,
So
that's what I'm saying.
I
If
double clicked here. Okay, so I got,
you can rename it.
I don't have to rename I just want to rename the chart, but not necessarily the sheet tab. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Do you want to show Jack what you did? I'm assuming Jack has not seen it.
No, not. So
Yeah, this is the Airbnb.
this is the
Clean
Airbnb.
data.
Yeah, almost clean data. I didn't quite use the right file. There were so many of them, and this one said clean. One question I had is to export it. I had to export it from Google Docs to my hard drive.
Right.
But later I found F18 looks like it's still there.
Yeah, that's okay.
Let's see what's going on quickly with that.
You have some artifacts in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back. Let's not
Yeah.
even bother with that.
So what happened? You exported from Google
Yeah.
Sheets and
I put it on my hard drive and then I brought it in.
okay.
Which is not a big deal. But then I found later, if I went to new data source, I could have done it right from there.
Right from Google Drive and Google Sheets. So if it's
Right.
in a Google Sheet, you could have done that. Absolutely.
Okay.
Right. So those are connectors that you already have installed.
Yep.
Right. So most definitely you could have done it that way. Ideally, before you bring your data in, you want to clean it the best you can. So anything that was null, right? You go through that same exercise of I want to keep.
I took a quick look, but didn't see that stuff. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. And that happens.
Should have looked more.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I decided I wanted to keep it simple.
Mhm.
Eventually, I want to try and map it, but I didn't know what to do with latitude and longitude. We dealt with mapping not last week, but the week before, and I was looking at last week's video when I was looking for
Right.
hints
So-
how to proceed. So and basically, we spent so much time with the two different data sets.
Mhm.
So eventually, I just said, "What the hell?" and I started clicking.
Okay. All right. Well, typically what happens is your data, right, is going to have something that allows Tableau to perceive a latitude and longitude. Now, it just so happened in your data source, you had the latitude and longitude. Am I right?
Right there. Yeah.
Is that in your data source?
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened was Tableau didn't put that data there, but it did assign a geo location to it. In other words, it knows it's geo specific, right?
That's what that circle number in a
Yes.
circle means.
Right. It
Okay.
looks like a little globe, if you will, right? Now,
Okay.
is there anything else in your data that maps it out on a traditional map? What do you think?
Just the boroughs, the neighborhood groups.
Okay. All right.
But that's by character. That's by string. That's not
Right.
numeric.
So if you insert a new sheet tab, Jerry, right? So I think sheet 2, if you get rid of what's there, get rid of F18, you can just drag it off of the rows. Up
Oh
to,
yeah, I see sun rows. Yeah. Okay.
all right. See what happens when you drag latitude, excuse me, into, nope, down below into your work area. Nope, right there. So it's not.
I did that. And this
Okay.
is what I saw.
Okay. What happens when you drag longitude in? So do you understand what the problem is? It does not
Seeing it as a
know
numeric.
it, right. It does not know where to start with that data.
Right.
Okay. So
Let's see what we see when we do it here.
See
Change
the-
data type.
we'll see the geographic roll down there,
Yeah.
right? It does see it as latitude and longitude, but it's going to say relative to what, right? It needs a basic map. Does that make sense? It needs a basic
Right.
map. So before we do that, why don't you explain to Jack what you did with the other, because we started that and we left Jack hanging there.
We left Jack.
I feel
Okay, so
kind of bad.
anyway,
It's my fault. I'm stuck working right now. I took a break actually.
Okay.
and anyway, I decided I wanted to start with something simple. Eventually, I'm going to want to map it, but again, I couldn't figure that out, so we started to talk, but I just said, let's look at what is the average price by borough.
Mhm.
As you know, as being, I guess, almost like a pivot chart there. So I just brought in the average price and by borough and room type. So in other words, if you wanted a shared room in Staten Island, how does that compare with a shared room in Brooklyn? Stuff like that. So I brought in the average price and the room type and the neighborhood group, which gives me the boroughs and the three factors that I wanted to look at. Then I started just going through the different possibilities. There's my chart. And I looked at this and this didn't do anything for me. So I tried looking at this and this really didn't tell me what I'm looking at until I mouse over it. So it really wasn't giving me a good graphic representation of what we were having. I like the look of it. I think
Yeah.
I think it's informative, but the legend isn't there. If it had a legend saying,
Hey, Jerry,
yeah.
one thing I see for sheet 2, can you go back over to sheet 2 for a second? Can you, there's in the second row of show me, there's a map icon.
Yep. Second row. There you go.
Not highlighted.
You
And there's
can't
and there's a reason it's
So-
not.
put longitude in there, drag longitude over.
To the right here.
Yeah, give that a shot.
Well, you can put longitude in columns and latitude in rows. So if you drag that up, okay,
It's still not. Oh, then it's showing me maps.
there you go. So now it's doing its best with what it sees, but it's
Right.
not very informative because it's not identifying that New York is the state we want to work with. So here's what I would recommend. Even though you don't have it, it would benefit you to have a column that represents the state of interest. Does that make sense?
Not the 5 columns with the neighborhood group column.
No, once you have the state, then the neighborhood groups can be plotted based on latitude and longitude.
Okay.
All right. But right now you're missing the state. So it really doesn't know. It says we've got a bunch of stuff and I think it's about here, but it doesn't recognize that it is related to New York.
State. Right. Yeah.
Right. Right.
It thinks we're actually in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Well, it's a little
That's what's
confused.
dominating the map.
Right.
Even though
Right.
the dots in New York.
Normally in the marks area, you would have your state in the marks area and maybe the country. Okay,
Right.
but you don't have a state. So see where it says average latitude, that average would not be there. So drag that away. Yeah, get rid of it. Yeah. There you go. All right, because it's not benefiting you at all, but what you really
Right.
do need is something to tell it New York. And that's not there. Okay, so if you were to want to, that kind of gives you something to work with. Now, once you mouse over.
Mhm.
Yeah, can you, yeah, there you go, mouse over. So now, did it put it in the correct regional location?
Yeah, that's the Upper West Side.
Okay, and on the map, is it touching Pennsylvania anymore?
No, this is New York City. That's New
Okay.
Jersey.
Okay.
What if I did neighborhood group instead? Like get rid of this
Okay.
and brought in neighborhood group.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not as much, right?
Right.
Not as much.
Okay, so we got neighborhood.
What if you put in both? Neighborhood
Okay,
and neighborhood
then you
group?
might get some additional granularity. Absolutely. I would put it in the workspace though. Yeah, drag it into the workspace. Yeah, get rid of the yeah, you want group. Ah, nice. Now, is it
Now, we still
accurate?
don't have a legend.
Well, you still don't have a legend, but let's do one thing at a time. So do you feel that this is accurate based on the coloration? And Jerry, click on show me up top, and yeah, there's your legend, Grasshopper.
Ah,
So do you feel it's accurate?
yes.
Okay. All right. So the one thing you don't have is a regional map that basically shows the polygons of New York, but you have a representation, which is fine.
Yeah, it's accurate, but it's not giving me a hell of a lot of information. I mean,
Well, when you mouse over, so remember the goal, right?
but
What was the
it's
goal?
showing me where they're clusters of.
Okay. Now, is there anything else that you could bring over? Now, let's be careful about this. Would you say that there's an average? You were looking at average price before. How is that grouped? Do you remember?
By neighborhood group.
Okay, so do you have that that dimension in here?
No. I didn't do
Okay.
anything about. I'm not concerned about price so much as I am concerned about, what neighborhood they're in.
Well, you've got the
Right.
neighborhood though. When you
If
mouse over.
I wanted to put price in. Where's price? Right there. What would this do?
Oh, look at that.
Yep. So now remember how to change your dot size. If you go to sum price on the right-hand side, nope, on the right-hand side, go up to, nope, down. You see the arrow to the right of sum price? Click on him, go to edit sizes. You can change the size. Yeah, drag that slider. Okay, and click apply and see if you like the change. Oh, Lord have mercy. Yes.
I love it. It's modern art.
It's a Jackson Pollock. Okay, a little bit better. Okay.
At least it gives me an indication of where, but like Staten Island, everything's disappearing except for.
Well, the other thing you could do is start the value, or that's taking the minimum.
Right. And remember, we had those outliers, so I don't know if that's so you can try a range. Do you want to do a range, Jerry? Yeah, it's going to do the same as before. Your range is down below where it says start value for range and then end value for range. So let's say you only wanted to see those prices that are between X and Y. So you've got an economical shopper in front of you and you want to guide him or her.
5,000, 563,000.
It's $57 to what have you. So what would be your top end?
Say 190.
Okay. So now when you click OK, what does this tell you when you mouse over?
That tells me a little more.
Okay. So if someone were sitting with you saying, hey, where can I get the, affordable
Or where, I mean, New York is a big city from Staten Island, to the Bronx.
Exactly. So as a consumer, if you were looking for price conscious related
Well, how, where do
I
you
would up the maximum price to 10,000.
Okay.
Okay, so what that was.
On the right, yep. Now your rationale, Jack, is
When he was hovering over, I was seeing prices of 8,000, 9,000. So I would just keep playing with it until it makes
It's just
sense.
that when I do that, a lot of them just become too
Right.
small.
So what winds up happening, right? And what happens is it's very hard to see the ones that are maybe affordable.
Yeah, you'd have to look at the what the outliers are.
Right. This actually has the outliers in it. Most
By
definitely.
taking the outliers out, by keeping it at $50 to $1,000. I mean,
Right.
the first thing I'm gonna do is what's how much what's your
We
price?
weren't able to take the outliers out though, right?
Well,
I'm doing 57 to 1,000 now.
Right. So let's say you did $100.
Okay, so
so what's your range between this and that? What would you want your range to be?
between 100 and 1,000, I'll accept that.
Okay.
Didn't make much of a change.
Just keep playing with it.
So
Maybe
when you,
try 500, try 500 and,
Well, okay, you know, are you gonna spend
50,000.
$1,000? No, that's a good question. I'm talking
well,
to
one
somebody.
thing to think about though, you've got some price. You see that there. Is that what you
Right.
want? No, 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 on your on
Uh,
your marks. Wouldn't it be average price that you would want?
I certainly don't want the sum of the prices.
Right. So go down to your measure and change it to average, right? I think that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, yeah.
Not minimum or maximum or percentile or anything like
But
that.
that's up to you. So
Look at average.
okay. So based on okay, it can't do an average. Your price is represented by whole numbers, I believe. Am I right? And now
Yeah,
it looks like
what
it's mad
happened?
at you. It looks like it's locked up.
Hmm.
If you go over to your data source, what does your price say? What data type is it seeing? I think you're locked up. It's mad at you. Okay, let's see here.
It always gets mad at me. I do awful
Yeah,
things.
it happens. Okay, price. See, okay. So price is basically, remember, it's pinpointing everything by what? By group? How is it pinpointing that information?
By
When you
neighborhood group.
by neighborhood group. So it's the average price per neighborhood group.
And but we haven't brought in room type yet.
That's right. That's right. So let's go back. Okay. So now what do you want to do?
I want to zoom in. How do I zoom in? What happened here?
You should be able to zoom in.
How do I do that?
Hold on here. There's on your I'm sorry, not window. On
I zoomed in. I hit the plus there.
you should be able to, yeah, control plus or the plus. Yes, thank you. So
Or just scrolling it'll do it. Okay.
yeah, sometimes your mouse will do it too.
Mhm.
All right. So is this accurate or do you want to change that? It
I
looks
don't
to
know what
me,
it looks like.
yeah, it's hard to see, right?
Yeah.
That might help to scale it. There you go. There you go. So if you were an
Can we
economic,
put this? Can we put this?
I would go back to the average price, go back to the sheet and sort, do a sort.
No, but into the
Go back to sheet, go back to average price. Where the average price sheet,
oh,
the sheet tab.
not there, but the sheet tab.
Oh.
That's
Where
just
did
another
you have
chart.
it? Where
It's
did you have it? Were you able to, oh, I think you have to go back to
the data source. Yeah.
the data source. You have to highlight the data source. Then can you sort? Sort the price.
Sure. Up top,
So
your price column is on the right.
you just had it all the way over to the, yeah, there you go. Okay. See if you could sort that.
You remember how to do it? You should be able to click the column header. Right there you go. You got it. That's a sorted ascending. Is that what you want? You see how you did that, Jerry?
yeah, I just clicked
That
right
little, yeah, it's a little bar. I don't even know what to call it. It's a sorter thingy.
there. Yeah, the sort of thingy.
The
It's a
sorter thing.
technical term.
That's right. So you did descending. Is that what you want?
Now I'm having descending. Now it's just sort of random.
Yep. And
There's
there you have
ascending.
min. You got it. So what sort do you want?
Jack, what do I want? I mean, you're directing this.
Yeah, I was looking to see if there's a way to find out what the I mean that's the average price for a particular
That's not
neighborhood
average.
group.
These are prices.
Right,
These
but
aren't averages.
on the map, it's representing it as an average based on the group of neighborhood group. Right.
Yeah, so then there's minimum nights. Interesting. Yeah, I was just trying to see if there was a way to find out where the,
Well, don't forget the grouping is managed by the map, right? So he brought in, I think, neighborhood group, Jerry, if I remember correctly. So what it's
Mhm.
going to do is that's your grouping mechanism. So your
We have
neighbor,
both neighborhood and neighborhood group. We have
right? So
both
it's a
of them
combination, right? So
to
the
get,
price is going to be an average within those groupings.
you could also do room type.
yeah, I could, but that's not what my concern is at this point. So it's an average price. So what am I really looking at? Is this,
So here's what I recommend. Take away
this
either
is one, this is, oh,
this
okay,
is
now I know what I'm,
Tribeca
every place, and this is an average for all of
because you have the
Tribeca.
combination. You got it right. It's
Right,
the
okay,
combination
that's what
of
I'm
the
looking at.
neighborhood group and the neighborhood.
And this is the average price in Brooklyn
Brooklyn
Heights.
Heights,
This is
Brooklyn.
pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that. That's pretty cool.
So if you were an economical shopper trying to find an affordable, let's say it's a particular neighborhood that you're looking for.
Well, I would have to go to this one. Let's say, I mean, if I'm going to be an economical shopper, I'm also going to be frugal with my time. I
Right.
don't
So
want to, I don't want to stay in Staten Island if I have to be in the Bronx.
right. So if you get rid of show me on the right hand side and you look at the legend. So now
Right.
as a consumer of this data dashboard, right? Let's say the goal is to stay in Queens.
Okay, but
Right.
my next question is, this information here,
Yeah.
can that be part of the interactive feature so that people can type their price in? Your
Yeah,
price
that actually can be a filter, sure.
Okay.
So if you
I want
click,
to be in Queens.
pardon?
I want to be in Queens. What if what,
Okay, so let's just this.
here's Queens.
Yep. So now, is it visible? Is it easy to see? Kinda. So the question
Well, a
becomes,
lot of them are small.
okay,
Now, the smallness, it refers to the price, though, not to the
That-
number of units.
that's
available.
correct. That's correct.
So
So
if you're an economical one, you're going to look for
you're
the
going to go
first,
for the
the
small dot.
small
Now
one,
you can
right.
change those dots though, so that they're more visible, right? Because right now they are difficult to see.
Okay.
Okay, so now are they easier to see?
They're easier to see, but Manhattan's a blur.
Well,
You're not
because you
looking at Manhattan,
selected
you're looking at
Queens,
Right.
right? So you
So
selected,
I'm going, yeah, okay. So I'm going to the beach. I'm going to Rockaway.
okay,
Rockaway Beach. It's $132 in Rockaway Beach. You know, if I'm going to, I don't know that people are going to take a beach vacation in New York, but if I wanted to, yeah, I would, you know, if I'm looking economically, it's Rockaway Beach. That's it. And Bell
mhm,
Harbor, 171, 132. So yeah, hey, let's find out what's there.
okay, okay. All right. So, what happens when you select Manhattan? Let's try that. All right, now
I have
Manhattan
to
jumps
go,
out.
now I have to change the sizes again.
Yep. And you can do that. Remember how?
Again, we're dealing between 100 and 500 still.
Right, right, and that's the range that you chose.
Whoa, okay.
You may want to change that or not. It's up to you.
Well, it's up to the person who's going to be shopping, not
Right.
up to me. I give them the capability of doing that.
Right, right, right.
Okay, so there we go. That's a good represent. So I'm looking for the small one in Manhattan. $127 down in Two Bridges. That's like between
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn Bridge and the Williamsburg Bridge.
Mm-hmm. What about that
Yep.
real small one up top?
East Harlem, 133.20.
Mm-hmm.
Up in Harlem, 119.
Mm-hmm.
And all of
Washington
this
Heights.
is regardless
You can
of
stay
room
in
type.
Washington Heights for $90. I'm there.
Right. So now Jack just mentioned a really,
I just jump on the A train and I'm in Midtown in half an hour.
there you go. Now, what about room type? Because that's something that people might be interested in. So how would you, what happens when you drag in room type and just lay it on your map? Down below,
Mhm.
up, down. All right, so now it's superimposed on Manhattan. Ah, so now for the price, it tells you the type, which is interesting, right?
All right.
Now, keep in mind, this is one chart. When you want a high level of interactivity, you've got to build a
Okay, so,
dashboard.
right. Okay. Yeah, well, that's where I'll be getting to is how to do
Right,
it.
right. And that would take you some time. So think of it this way, when you're planning out your dashboard, you want to think about the different types of charts that would be beneficial to the user. You would want to use some type of a wire mapping or something so that you can plan this accordingly. At some point, it's going to get very busy on your map. And you want to think about the user and how much trouble they're going to have with this.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm saying, if I'm a user, I'm having a lot of trouble with this.
Right. So here's the thing. Let me, if you don't mind, do you mind if I share my screen? Remember
Right.
how we tied all of when we did our dashboard, we tied all of the charts to the filter?
Mm-hmm.
And so let's say you choose Manhattan, then everything else filters down for Manhattan. So I'm going to share my screen really fast. And just, we won't have time to go through it tonight, but just to remind you of what's possible. All right, let me change the size of this window here. All right. All right. So remember we did this guy right here. And so it was the interactive dashboard. It was comprised of these three charts, right? But then we built a dashboard. Think of this as one of these being the map. All right. So what happens is when you make a selection, for example, let's say I choose audiobook 1, the map updates, everything updates relative to that. You see? So you drill down in all of your maps or all of your charts, I should say, like you could include the other chart you did, the average price chart with the dots, right? That could then update based on choice of neighborhood group or choice of a specific price.
So you could have neighborhood group, 3 things: neighborhood group, price point.
Yep. And location maybe on the map.
Here
Maybe.
we only have one. Here we only have one filter, so I have to know how to.
You could have more than one. You could have more than one. This one filters by audiobook name, but think of it this way: when you're planning this out, say to yourself, what would the user want to be able to do? Let's say location starts my query, if you will. So let them filter by location, then they go to price. And then they go to, see what I'm saying? What drives the filtering process? If let's say instead of audiobook name, it was location, this would be my neighborhood groups. So I would filter from my neighborhood group. Then I'd come down to this one and do the price within that neighborhood group. And I would keep drilling down. See? So what I would encourage you to do is plan out how do you want your dashboard to look? And I mean, the map has to be part of it, I would think, right? Because people are going to recognize the location. Makes sense? All right. Awesome. So did you plan that out before you started making it, or did you just jump in?
I just jumped in.
You were brave. Awesome.
Well, I'm just learning. I'm not.
Well, but that's good though. And you can see when something happens that's not representative of the goal.
Yeah.
And you, right?
What I want to know is how do I change the color of the map? Because I don't like that gray.
So last class, we actually changed colors. So the map itself, when you click on show me, right? And you select a particular.
I'm sharing my screen again.
Yeah, share your screen.
I want to show me.
Right. So your map has different colors, right? So, okay. So right now you're in your map. So here, your map is basically showing you the dimension and the measures. I basically wanted to show that to you. If you jump over to your colors on you should be able to change it there. Right. And you should be able to edit colors. So is it a theme that you're looking for or what? I mean,
I just want something that doesn't look that ugly gray. And
the map itself. Okay.
The map itself. Yeah.
So click cancel. Go to see where it says automatic up
We're in color.
where it says marks.
Move
Yeah,
your
no, no.
mouse up there. You see where the top above move your mouse about 2 inches up. Now to the left,
Wait a minute.
more to the left.
No, I've
Where
lost the
Marks
map.
is, where Marks is. We see where it says Marks, pages, filters, Marks. Right there. You just had it. You hovered right over it. There you go.
All right. So you
Now
see
go
where
to
it's,
map.
Yep.
Now you can go to the color.
Yep. Actually, opacity being high would probably be better.
Yeah. It's still not it's giving me, it's changing the color of the dots, but I want to change the color of the map.
Right.
And how did my map get so off center? How did that happen?
Well, I think you were scrolling to the left
Yeah.
or to the right. Once you get it centered.
How do I do that? That's
Just drag it over.
I'm trying to. It's not.
Oh, you
You
know
s-
why? Because you have the in the vertical toolbar in the upper left-hand corner, you have the pin crest. You just hovered over it. Go back to your map. Right there. Uncheck that. Now you can drag it.
All right, you got it?
It's not just centered itself. It didn't drag for me.
Okay. So if you go up to map in your menu, all the way up there, and go down to your map layers. All right. You can change your theme there, your colors. And you're going to have to play around with this, obviously. But there are different styles that you can choose. Right now, you have a light style, Jerry. So that's why you're getting a washed out look. If you want to have it more dark or normal, see how it changes. And then your washout, Jer, you want to play around with that as well. So I would go with something. Are you looking for a darker? See how it washes it out more?
Yeah,
Right, and you don't want that, so keep that. But
yeah, I want to see. Now I'm beginning to get a feel for the terrain.
but if you go up to the top where it says style, right? Okay, you see that there's different flavors there. You can go to more of a dark.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. You got it.
I got
You
a
got it.
map. I got a map now.
That looks decent. Love it. Very good. And you see how they have JFK, they've got landmarks there.
Yep.
They got airports. See, that's beneficial to the user.
Neighborhoods.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. You've got the major highways there,
Mhm.
right? And now when you mouse over on those dots, do you like the look of the mouse over? Yeah.
Yeah, that's working for me.
Yep. Again, the user, if you get rid of show me again, the user is going to know that the color of the dots refers to the neighborhood group, which is very helpful for them, right?
Mhm.
So cool.
Especially if they're not in New York, they want to know where the different boroughs are.
Right. So now if you save this to Tableau Public, how cool does it look online? Let's see. It'll probably open up in a browser window that we can't see, of course, but you'll show us.
That's where it's open.
It's probably going to be cool looking though. See, this is more like and people can see the water, right? Which is important. Cool. So if someone wanted to stay on the water, they would very easily be able to identify that where they're going is the water. Cool. And there's your sheet tabs. Cool. Oh, there.
You know, what they can't tell is, I mean, because a lot of people when it comes to New York, they're going to want to be somewhere in here.
Right. So ideally having a filter, right, in a dashboard that allows you to drill into a particular neighborhood would be cool.
Yeah.
And then you can start showing the various eateries.
Look at you want to be on the east side, you want to be on the west side, you want to be in Soho.
Right. And then
you can click on full screen mode.
Right. And here's the thing, you can then show the different touristy stuff around the location that they're interested in.
Okay, look at that. Full screen. That does that.
Right. So let's say you focus on a particular neighborhood. If you click on Manhattan, Jer, right, on the right-hand side, right? So now at this point, it would be nice to see like restaurants, theater, whatever people would be into, local
Yeah,
touristy.
which is not in my data set. I have to go
That's
get that.
correct. So you'd need to have a data set that shows that. You got it. Yep. Cool. You did it.
I need to hook up with Yelp or something like that.
Yeah. Well, if you wanted to get ratings, most definitely, and show
Nice
ratings,
work,
sure.
Jerry.
Very nice. Very,
Well,
very nice.
hey, we did it. I didn't do it.
Yeah, but you learned. That's awesome.
I
That's
learned.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and again, this is very representative, like an actual map that people are used to. It's very informative. You've got all the
Mhm.
airports, the major highways. You got the water sources, which is very important to folks.
Yeah,
So,
Newark, LaGuardia, JFK.
Yep.
So, yeah.
and
You
there's
know
many
that.
different ways of doing maps. So obviously, you want to factor that into your decision-making process, but it looks cool. There you go.
And actually, this is Eastern Queens that I said was not represented, but I mean, that's the Nassau County border, Lake Success.
Mm-hmm.
This is all pretty much in Nassau County. Well, not here, but
Mm-hmm.
Great Neck's Nassau County. So it does have Eastern Queens.
Well, one thing you could do in your overlay is find out where the borders are.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not really showing. It's
No,
Brooklyn.
you'd have to go back and go back to your,
Well, I'm not in. This is the.
yeah, no, I'm
Tableau.
just saying, when you go back there, there should be in the layers, there should be,
For the borders, yeah.
city boundaries and borders.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good
You
enough.
actually, you learned some GIS stuff. That's awesome. Awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome. All right. Well, I will see you guys on Wednesday, and we'll
I'm
be
going to
doing
try and make
more
one
map
more
stuff.
one more chart and work up a
Cool.
dashboard. And see if I have
Nice,
time.
nice. Well, and remember, when you're planning these out, think of if you want a sample to show to someone, right? Make it representative of how you want them to see it.
Mhm.
And
No,
then,
I'm pleased enough with this to take it. Have it show on my
yeah,
Tableau site.
awesome, awesome. All right, cool.
Good enough.
All
Thank you.
right, you're welcome.